For this meeting of the Road Safety Forum held on the 20th of February 2024. I can see that we have present Councillors Anderson, Barker, Cowie, Dewar, Johnson-Dempsey, Kerr, Mars and McCreary. I have apologies from Councillor McLachlan. Councillor Ray? No, I'm not seeing you present. We also have a number of officers in attendance today, and with that I'll pass you back to the Chair to commence today's business. Thank you, Chair.
Moving on to agenda item 1. Is there any declaration of interest?
Got Councillor Barker.
Councillor Barker.
Sorry, I was just switching on ready. No, I've no declaration of interest. Apologies.
Okay, thanks, Al. Moving on to agenda item 2, the minutes of the previous meeting, which are on pages 3 to 8 of your pack. Can I submit these for approval, please, as an accurate record? And can I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Thank you. Is there any questions on that?
See any?
What?
Not seeing any.
No, nobody get any questions. Moving on to items for consideration. Agenda item 3, 20 mile an hour speed limits, an update. Could I ask Colin Park to speak on that report?
Thank you, Chair. This is just a short update following on from the paper we presented in November last year. So since that time, there's been ongoing discussion with Transport Scotland and via the kind of professional body Scots across Scotland. So members will recollect back in November, we brought to committee and just kind of reiterated the Scottish Government's national framework targets for casualty reduction to 2030. We highlighted that the 2021 programme for government committed to ensuring all appropriate roads and built-up areas have a safer speed limit of 20 miles per hour by 2025. Obviously, within our own local transport strategy, we have a commitment to support and encourage driving at 20 miles per hour, and that's something we've all been working towards. Members will recollect we reported back in November that all our existing 30 miles an hour and 20 miles per hour roads had been assessed against place criteria provided by Transport Scotland, and that indicates which 30 mile an hour roads are considered appropriate for a reduction to 20. There was a significant number when following that place criteria that would fall into that category, and I think we reported back in November that we were working through that. We also reported about 2 options that were being considered about how to implement 20 miles an hour in a more comprehensive manner across Scotland. They were being appraised by Scottish Government. These were, option 1 was a change in national legislation, which is essentially make the national speed limit in built-up areas move from 30 to 20. This approach would have removed any decision-making from the council, as all non-classified roads would default to 20, and the council would be required to change and provide additional speed limit signage where required. To be fair, I think, as we reported in November from a professional road safety industry body, the big bang, the overnight change was what we were keen to support. However, it would have taken a degree of control away from local councils to make that decision themselves, and would have put under a bit of pressure in terms of the available resources. The other option that was to be looked at was really to leave it to the councils to consider the results of the placemaking assessment and consider to roll it out where they felt it was appropriate. So that was been discussed, taking into account the implementation of the 20 mile an hour limits in Wales, and some of you may have been following what's been happening in Wales. People have got different views depending on who it is you're talking to, but what's been concluded by Transport Scotland is it's going to be option 2, so that will be left to local councils to make the appropriate decisions. So what that does, it gives us more flexibility, allows us to align the resources we've got available to the priority areas. We're going to do a sense check on the assessment results that were emerging from the assessment that was done towards the end of last year, and we'll come forward via the Road Safety Forum with potential next steps. Not sure whether we'll make the next Road Safety Forum before the summer recess, but we'll certainly bring it forward in a kind of timely manner working with local communities, working with local members to better understand what areas we're going to tackle. There is funding available from Transport Scotland, we understand. I haven't seen that clearly set out in definitive, but given it's a council priority via the local transport strategy, it's likely to remain one, certainly as members will, as officers will put forward. But we'll be able to kind of take a little bit more control of it, because I know at the previous meeting there was obviously quite a kind of lengthy debate on it. So really that's all I've got to update you on, Chair, just now. It's not a paper per se, but it's just to make members aware, given just the lengthy debate at the last meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Colin. I think that's a more sensible approach. It is rolled out. The council have got more powers to make decisions. Has anybody got any questions on that? No? Can the forum agree to note the update? Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 4, School Travel Works Initiatives paper, which is pages 9 to 16 in your pack. And can I invite Colin Smith to speak on this report?
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to advise the forum of the School Travel Plan programme within South Lanarkshire. As set out in section 3 in the background of the paper, it details that all educational establishments are offered guidance and assistance with creating and reviewing their school travel plan. This involves parents, pupils and staff in the process, with a template being available and other tools to aid them develop their travel plan bespoke to their school. A variety of initiatives and campaigns are available to assist in the delivery of safe and sustainable objectives, as well as focusing on improving walking, cycling and scootering to and from school, and any alternatives to private car use during the school journey as well. The first step of the school travel plan journey is the completion of questionnaires and ascertaining travel models or modes for each pupil going to school as well, and that allows the targets and initiatives section of the travel plan to be devised. The completion of a travel plan will result in the school or establishment having a school travel plan award certificate, banner and postcards to raise awareness within their school. And at present we have 82 schools that have completed their travel plan and a further 56 that are currently in development. The Traffic and Transportation section are in contact with schools on a regular basis, and any issues that are raised round about the schools directly to us can be raised with the school to target through their various methods also. Throughout the year, there are some excellent examples of schools and nurseries who have completed their school travel plan and related activities as well. And you'll see in section 3.11 a few examples from Cairns Primary in Cambuslang, Craigbank and Larkhall, Spittal and Rutherglen, and Our Lady in St Anne's in Hamilton, just to give you a flavour of some of the on-ground activity that takes place. Section 4 details road safety through Curriculum for Excellence. This is a publication that's in use and referenced by all schools to provide information on various road safety learning models and tools and resources aligned to Curriculum for Excellence. By engaging our children at an early stage in their learning journey, it's hoped that gives them the strategies early on and also shapes their mindset for road safety for their ongoing learning as well into adulthood. This document can be viewed online, as can be seen in the link in section 4.4. Section 5 details the WOW Walk Once a Week or Walk Once on a Wednesday Primary 5 initiative, where all schools were offered to take part in this at their Primary 5 stage. This is a stage where pupils are progressing to independent travel, and this helps to reduce the number of children who are driven to school by taking on board more sustainable methods of travel. 4 rewards are provided during the academic year, and at this current moment in time we have 34 schools participating. When it comes to cycling, section 6 details the Cycle Friendly School Fund by Cycling Scotland. This funding is offered on a yearly basis, and we submitted our successful application to this fund. And you'll see from section 6.3 the 7 schools that are going to benefit from cycle storage and scooter racks as well within their establishments. And procurement is underway to have those installed at this current moment in time. Section 7 details the Sustrans annual travel survey. This is a survey that takes place in the second week in September on an annual basis, where schools and nurseries are invited to complete this survey simply by asking, how do you travel to school? And that's collated for all the participating schools. In 2022, as you can see from 7.4, we had 61 nurseries, 90 primary schools, 12 secondary and 2 additional support needs schools taking part. The results are then shown in section 7.5 for the South Lanarkshire Council area, where travel to primary and secondary school by active or public transport was recorded at 59.9%, and this is a slight increase of 0.9% from the previous year. And you'll see the comparison in section 7.6 to the national results there, just so as you can see that side by side. Each year, the local authority gets a detailed Excel spreadsheet split by all individual schools and stages as well, so that can be used for internal use to drill down data where we are required to do so also. The 2023 survey has obviously taken place, and we are awaiting the publication of the final data for that, and that's due around about May this year. In terms of this report, there's no significant implications, as you can see from section 9, 11, 12 and 13. In terms of financial implications, the cycle and scooter parking was funded by Cycling Scotland with a grant of 95,000. The minimal costs for the WOW scheme are shown in 10.2, and other promotional items are provided free of charge from Road Safety Scotland, which we get the use of within the council area. So the forum is asked to note the contents of this report and the development of future school travel plans be supported. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Colin. Can I open this up for any questions?
Councillor Mars.
Councillor Mars.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, very much welcome this report. The school travel plans are an important part of ensuring that our young people reach schools safe and in a sustainable and healthy way. Are you hearing me correctly, Chair? Is that?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you. So yes, I very much welcome this report, and I'm always pleased to hear of more schools engaging in the school travel plan process. Going forward, it would be useful to know whether any additional staff resource or capital funds are being considered for this scheme for consideration of any updated school travel plans if the proposed school bus cuts go ahead, given the expected rise in vehicle volumes and the expected need for support for pupils walking up to 30 miles per week. Alongside the school travel plans and the potential changes, I'm also interested to know whether we can look at a review of the West of Scotland road safety guidance that the Safe Walking Routes are based upon, because that guidance is now a decade old and I think could do with an update.
Thanks, Julia. Stuart, do you want to come in and answer that?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. In terms of the resources that we have available for school travel planning, it's anticipated that those would remain the same. As you can see from the papers, a good number of schools are already involved in that process, so I'm going to say that's a business as usual for our team. In terms of the any guidance that's issued from various organisations, we obviously undertake reviews of those on a fairly regular basis. In terms of the West of Scotland road safety guidance in relation to walking routes, that is a topic that's obviously getting discussed at the moment in relation to the wider consultation that's ongoing at the moment in relation to school transport. The guidance itself, we are satisfied that we're using the correct guidance and the most up-to-date guidance, and we'll continue to do that. As we are going through the consultation process, there may be things that are brought up through that, and we'll consider those once the consultation is concluded.
Thanks, Stuart. Julia, do you want to come back in?
Thank you. Yes, I'm very pleased to hear that there is an ongoing consultation for the West of Scotland road safety guidance. I'd be very interested in the fact that this appears to be live now, whether that could be brought to the next road safety forum so that we can discuss the guidance and offer a response to that consultation. Also, the timescale for that consultation to complete would be very useful, given, again, the proposal to cut school buses.
Stuart?
Just for clarity, the consultation I was referring to is in relation to school transport, not the road safety guidance.
Thank you. Julia, do you want to come back in? No?
Yes, please. I'm slightly disappointed to hear that. I got all excited there that we were actually going to have a look at this guidance. Could I again formally ask that the West of Scotland road safety guidance is brought in a paper to the next road safety forum for our consideration and discussion, please?
Colin?
Thanks, Chair. If I could just maybe come in there, Councillor Mars, and just kind of supplement what Stuart was saying there. We're obviously through a consultation working with colleagues in education on a potential proposal to change school transport. It's obviously understandably very emotive, so we need to kind of assess that on a consistent basis, the same way as we've assessed the request for school transport for many years. So we'll do that under the current guidance. I think that's where Stuart was going with that. This is clearly going to raise a number of emotive points, and through that process we've got various forums officers and councillor forums across the west of Scotland. So once we go through that, we will look to see whether there's any areas that may require to be refined, or whether the consistent approach that's applied by South Lanarkshire for the last 20 odd years, and in turn with colleagues in other neighbouring authorities, requires to be updated. So we could certainly aim to bring what we currently have to one of the next forums, but I think we maybe just need to kind of manage that timeline in terms of where we are with the school transport. We will be assessing the school transport consultation in line with the current guidelines, and as a result of that might lead on to the need for a further review. But they're not our guidelines, but we can input them. So I think it's a valid point, Councillor Mars, but we do need to be consistent in where we're going at this stage. Thank you.
Councillor Kerr?
All the best for the future with it. It was very good to read. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Anderson?
Thanks. I'm just wondering with these routes to the school we're talking about and encouraging children to cycle, is this when it is only separated cycle lanes we're talking about? Or do we actually encourage them to cycle on the road or on the pavement? And the second point is, are these routes gritted during the winter? Or is it just a certain distance at the school that's gritted? Thanks.
Thanks, John. Stuart, do you want to come in on that?
Yeah, in terms of the any routes to school, you'll appreciate that the network within South Lanarkshire is vast and varied. And in terms of the how children take those routes, that's really something that the parents are encouraged to speak to their children about, see if there are concerns on that route, and have that discussion with their parents or guardians. In terms of the assessment that we look at, it covers both primary school and secondary school, and there becomes a point when young children become children and then become adults during that full school process. So that's something that we assess. We assess it in consideration that young adults will be walking these routes or they will be cycling these routes. The guidance itself is primarily for walking, but again, depending on where you are within South Lanarkshire, there may be opportunities to undertake those journeys by bike. In relation to gritting routes, etc., members will be aware that we do have a fairly comprehensive network that is gritted. There's all our A and B class routes are gritted on a regular basis. There's a number of footways where there are high footfalls, so within town centres, for example, or in and around schools. Those areas are gritted.
Thanks, Stuart. Any more questions? John, do you want to come back in?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Thank you. I can't see any more questions, so can we agree to note the report? Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 5, Priority Road Safety Engineering Projects 2024 to 2025, and it's pages 17 to 26 in your report. Sorry about that. Can I invite Stuart Laird to speak in this?
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to advise the Forum of the proposed priority road safety engineering projects and road safety actions to be progressed during the next financial year. Section 3 of the papers provides the background and makes reference to the Council Local Transport Strategy, where casualty reduction policies and actions are made. These relate to assessing and targeting resources to roads where there is an identified need for improvement to reduce casualties. Reference is also made to the methodology used to prioritise works, and these were presented to the last forum in November. Section 4 outlines the assessment process. The first number of paragraphs refer to the assessments for our rural A and B class routes within the council area, 21 sections that have an accident rate higher than the national average for these types of roads have been identified. Various weightings, as outlined in paragraphs 4.2 through to 4.4 of the papers, have been applied, and 5 of these sites are proposed for detailed analysis, and these sites are listed in Appendix 1. Also of note is paragraph 4.5, which lists the routes that were currently being treated this current financial year, and those works will be concluded soon. From paragraph 4.7 onwards to paragraph 4.10, these outlines the single site assessment outcome, where we've identified 11 sites that have 3 or more injury accidents occurring within the last 3 assessment years. Appendix 2 lists 5 locations where detailed assessments are going to be undertaken. Paragraph 4.13 of the papers lists vulnerable road users, where actions will also be considered through engineering as well as education, enforcement and encouragement initiatives, and examples of these are listed in Appendix 3. In terms of implications, in sections 5 to 8 of the papers, I would draw your attention to paragraph 6.2, where we make reference to SPT's capital grant. We're currently, we had previously been successful in implementing road safety measures from SPT funding. At this time, it's not clear if SPT's funding will be resolved, and I would note that the available budgets are also yet to be finalised from Transport Scotland's Road Safety Fund. Finally, the Forum is asked to note the contents of this report and the priority projects identified be progressed and implemented in line with available funding.
Thank you, Stuart. Anybody get any questions on that report? No, I can't see any. Can we ask the Forum to agree to note the report? Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 6, Police Scotland, Lanarkshire Division Road Safety Update, pages 27 to 30 in your pack. And can I invite Lorna Hinshelwood to speak to this report?
Morning, Chair. The purpose of the report is to update the Road Safety Forum on forthcoming campaigns and to discuss ongoing and national and local campaigns. I've requested that the forum approve the following recommendations. That's information set out in relation to road safety campaigns be noted, and the verbal update regarding these road safety campaigns be noted. In section 4, road police and community officers, they're continuing to support their speeding complaints outside schools across South Lanarkshire. We're still using our funded pop-up police to deter excessive speeds. Education and enforcement is used where necessary, and we're promoting these campaigns through social media. In Q3, October to December, national campaigns that took place. We had our speeding campaign in October with 59 detections. Get Ready for Winter ran from the 23rd of October to 4th of November with 9 detections. Driver Insured ran in November with 13 detections. Break Road Safety ran in November, and that took place in various locations across South Lanarkshire, including M74 northbound, southbound, A71, Stonehouse, East Kilbride, Blantyre, Lanark, Cambuslang. Our annual festive drink drive campaign ran from the 1st of December to the 2nd of January. There was 95 breath tests carried out with 9 detections. Speeding is down 12.4% from last year. Disqualified driving down 7.2%. Driving licence offences are up 4.0%. Insurance offences down 2.2%. Seatbelt offences are up 17.2%, and mobile phone offences are up 47.5%. The likely increase in seatbelts and mobile phones will be due to campaigns that have been carried out. Moving on to 4.3, trends identified. There have been 6 fatal road accidents up to the end of December, and unfortunately 3 of the 6 have involved elderly pedestrians. In November and December alone, we had 4 serious injury road traffic collisions that involved elderly drivers. Looking forward to March, our road policing in conjunction with partners are looking at planning an elderly driver awareness event. This will be held, I don't have the full details of where the event's going to take place, but hopefully in the next quarter I'll be able to report back on what that looked like. It will take place in a hotel in South Lanarkshire. We'll have partners from South Lanarkshire Council Roads, NHS, opticians attending. We'll be doing things like hazard perception to let them see their reaction times, things like that. So I'll report back on that for next quarter. It was just to add as well that road policing, not only are they, they're protecting our roads, but they've got a wider job for serious and organised crime involving people travelling up from down south. So just to add that in there as well. That's all from me. If there's any questions?
Thank you. Anybody get any questions in that report? No, I can't see anyone. Can the forum agree to note the report? Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 7, and I have apologies from Gary Tudhope. He can't attend this morning, so I'm now going to ask the forum, I think you all have read it in your pack, if we can just agree to note that report. Thank you. And I have no items of urgent business, so I just want to thank everybody for attending and have a good day.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. What?
Oh,
Sorry, Councillor Mars, I missed you there, sorry.
Thank you for your indulgence, Chair. I appreciate it. I'm just wondering, just going back to item 4, am I correct in that there is agreement in the room that the current West of Scotland road safety guidance will be brought to the next forum for discussion?
We agreed to note the report. Colin, do you want to come back in that?
Thanks, Chair. I think Councillor Mars certainly agreed that we would look to bring the guidance to one of the next forums. I don't think, unless there's, if we're still going through the consultation, I'm not entirely up to speed on the exact timeline for all of that, but we'll certainly look to bring the guidance in some guise to a future one. We need to assess the resources we have available to update that, to bring it to the next one specifically, but we will endeavour to do so if we can, but I couldn't give a 100% commitment it will come to the next one.
Julia, do you want to come back?
Thank you. I think it's actually vitally important that whilst I understand the decision going forward will be made on the current guidance, I think it is vitally important that it is considered and discussed and given air at this road safety forum simultaneously and in conjunction with the consultation and the proposal on school buses. So I would certainly be very keen to see it at the next road safety forum.
Thanks, Julia. I'll discuss that with Davy and the officers and put your point forward. I'll take one more. Councillor Kerr.
Correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but what Councillor Mars is on about there, right? I mean, the consultation, it has still got to go ahead. If it's not deemed a safe walking route, this might not take place until August 25. Things will be all sorted before then. I mean, am I wrong about that? Or this will, and it's deemed not a safe walking route, then transport will be provided if it's not a safe walking route.
Yeah, the consultation's still ongoing, I'm sure, and I think it's been extended for 2 weeks.
Yeah, certainly, Chair, sorry if I can come in
Colin,
here,
do
sorry.
you want to come back in?
Apologies. Yeah, the consultation's ongoing still. We've obviously set out with colleagues in education to assess it consistently, the same as we have done. It's very emotive. I think we need to be very, very careful as we're going through the consultation. Any suggestion that the guidance that we have is inappropriate. It's a guidance that's been in place for many, many years. That every councillor who's probably been involved in a walking route to school assessment will be aware of. It is consistent. I think this is a wholesale review of school transport in South Lanarkshire, so there may be matters emerging from this consultation that would merit further discussion. But I don't think we can give any suggestion that the guidance that we have just now is not appropriate. That's what we will be applying. And you're right, if it's not a safe walking route to school, then that discussion will take place with education to see whether any interventions can take place to make it a safe walking route to school in line with the guidance. But I can understand where Councillor Mars is coming from. Obviously, Councillor Mars was involved as chair of the Road Safety Forum for many years as well, so I know, Councillor Mars, you're obviously very familiar with it. But the guidance is what it is now, and we will look to see whether there's any merit in making changes to that, because it's not just South Lanarkshire that use it, it's a number of authorities in the west of Scotland. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Julia, do you want to come back in?
Yes, please. Thank you, Chair. No, I understand Colin's point, and I'm not making a suggestion on the appropriateness or not of the guidance. I'm simply asking for a review, and given the contentiousness of the proposal, I think it's very important that these decisions are taken in the full and open understanding of the guidance that the basis of safe walking routes is decisions are made upon. I'd like to formally move that we consider at the next road safety forum the West of Scotland road safety guidance, please.
We can provide comments to the Executive Director.
We'll just come back in that, Councillor Mars. The Road Safety Forum doesn't have any decision-making powers, but we can provide comments to the Executive Committee, the Executive Director. But
yes,
we'll note your
that's
comments.
correct.
So thank you very much. And it is it's a very emotive subject.
Chair, perhaps I'm misunderstanding. Are you refusing to allow me to formally move that the guidance is considered at the next road safety forum and comment thereafter offered to the Executive Committee?
we don't have any powers to review the guidance to change it, Julia.
But we can discuss it. We can discuss it and offer comment.
I'm going to pass over to Colin, Julia.
Thanks, Chair. Probably a couple of things, maybe just to assist moving forward. One, the guidance was brought, I think, understanding we can share, it was brought to the Road Safety Forum in 2016. So certainly if anybody's looking to review that, to have a look at that guidance, to view that guidance, not review it, that's available now. If it assists Road Safety Forum, we can update that paper and bring the guidance that we use to the next forum. We can have a discussion, but as to this discussion on the guidance that we use, not necessarily any suggestion that we're going to change it or amend it. Personally, I think it may be premature to bring it. I think it's May or June the next Road Safety Forum, but we can certainly bring it. My recommendation would be that we might bring a paper with changes or suggested changes or discussions that are ongoing with the West of Scotland, but at this moment in time, just stressing point again, the guidance that we have is the guidance that we intend to use, and that's what we will work with colleagues in education on. If members of the forum wish, and the chair, Councillor McLachlan's support of it, we can bring it. From an officer point of view, we can do that.
Thanks, Colin. Julia, we'll take that. I'll take that to the chair, and we'll come back to you with a decision, whether it comes to the next forum or not.
Thank you.
But I hear your request. Thank you. Any more questions? No? Well, that's us finished. I'd just like to thank everybody for their contributions, and once again, have a good day. Thank you.